Hey guys, LootWizard here with another video on Gems of War, and it's the first day of the week, so we have new stuff in the Soulforge, and that's what this video is going to be about, as well as a new troop in the Glory Shop. We're going to check that out, and we will check out the event here this week. It's the Tower of Doom, and so let's get right into it. First of all, let's go to the Soulforge, and let's check out the weapons here first. The Stone Aegis is a unique type of weapon here for the kingdom, and the event kingdom for this week is Kazael. So that's the kingdom here, and that's where all the weapons pretty much are being listed here for this kingdom. So this weapon gives armor to all allies. 29 is based on your magic. Then it gives all allies 8 attack. That's not based on any kind of magic, so it's a straight 8 no matter what. And then it will give 2 mana for every enemy with a barrier. So interesting weapon. Maybe a pretty good weapon for things like sieges, because there's usually a lot of barriers on those different siege towers, and this would be able to give mana back to all of your troops when there's barrier. Other than that, I don't really see it being that useful. So, unless you're trying to collect this type of weapon, I wouldn't really recommend going for that. Doomed Sledge. This weapon is a Doom weapon, so it is available right now this week for gems in the Tower of Doom event, and that's where I would recommend getting it, because gems are always easier to get than diamonds. So we'll take a look at that weapon once we get over to that shop. And scrolling down, we have another weapon way at the bottom, Grudge Keeper, which is the mana generating weapon for this kingdom and the troops that are for this kingdom. So if you don't have this weapon and you're trying to collect all the mana generating weapons that are specific to kingdoms, then this one would be it would be the time to get this one right now. But is it really good? No, I don't think so, because one of the best mana generators in the game is actually from Kazael. Gorgatha is from this kingdom. So you're probably going to be using that more than you would a hero class. But for what it's worth, it's there. If you're collecting those types of weapons, it's in there right now. For troops, let's go over the summoning stones, and then we'll get right into the mythic troops here. So blue summoning stones first. We're going to take a look here. We got Taipan, which is a good mana generator, starts full mana. There is a new troop out that basically replaces this one, but this still is good. Other than that, you got Princess Fizzbang. If for whatever reason this troop has not dropped for you in keys, now would be the time to try to get this troop. It is actually a really good troop in goblin teams. So, now's the time to try to get that if you didn't have it. For green, you can't really say there's anything here really of note. Nothing really. Moving on to red. You already probably have Deep Bore, but that is a good troop there. Dark Troll, if you don't have it yet, sometimes these trolls are hard to get until later on in the game. But this one here is a soul type of troop, which, there's the Dragon Soul, there's Pharaoh's Ra, and all those troops, those two troops at least, but there are a few others with souls that do use purple mana. This troll will double the number of purple gems on the board, create 3 more purple, and then it will give you souls according to your current magic. So this might be a troop you want to get. That is there in red summoning stones. So let's go over to yellow. And yeah, there's nothing really here of note. This troop you can get in quest lines. This one I think is pretty easy to get, but this is one of those converter mana generating troops. It will transform a selected mana color to purple. And then we have Moonsinger, which will convert purple gems to green. Starts with full mana. That's pretty good. Purple summoning stones. We don't really have anything that I can recommend there for purple. Brown. I would say the best troop in this, well, this one's okay. This is one of those special boss troops, but on top of that, it has a 50% chance to summon Queen Isabel here. So that is a legendary troop, and it has a 50% chance to summon that every time you cast it. So that's interesting. The other troop that I think is really good is Turtle Cannon. I don't see too many people use this in their teams, but it's actually really good for green mana generation. It'll explode a gem, create 4 green gems boosted by skulls destroyed. So if you can destroy like 4 skulls with this, then it's going to create a lot of green, enough to usually get yourself a 4 match. Plus, it will reduce damage from skulls by 50%, and it does burn enemies when doing skull damage. So pretty low mana cost too, 11. So that's a good troop. Alright, moving on through the legendaries and mythics here. Legendaries, we have the Kraken, Gog or Good, Yao Guy, and Wrath. So I would say here the best legendary is Yao. Second is probably Wrath. Third, Kraken. Kraken, though, is pretty close to Wrath, but Wrath, I think, is more powerful. And then, of course, this is just, pretty much junk. Nobody uses this for anything. So, but if you were going to craft a legendary troop, and you don't have Yao yet, now would be the time to get him. 800 diamonds, and he can be yours. Although I usually don't recommend crafting legendary troops, but there probably is at least 5 legendary troops that I would say are probably worth crafting if you don't have them. If you've opened thousands of keys and you're already like level 1000 and you don't have Yao Guy, you might want to at least consider crafting it. Now moving on to the mythic troops, we have Doomclaw, the Worldbreaker, Skady, and the Grey King. And out of these 4, I have to say the Grey King is the best troop. The Grey King is a mana generator. It will destroy all gems of a chosen color, so you can choose which gems to destroy. All enemies of that color take true damage, and it's a pretty high true damage. And then their mana is drained, they're silenced, and they're frozen. So the Grey King is a really good mythic troop. I would probably put it in my top 10. And next to that, Worldbreaker is really powerful. It will explode basically the entire board, and then it does about 30 damage to all enemies. It probably is lower, like 20 or 25, and then as you gain more magic by leveling up your kingdoms, you can get some more. So that's a pretty high one, and it also has a trait where it gains 5 to a random skill on 4 or 5 gem matches. So it can actually increase that magic damage quite a bit if you have a converter with it. However, it is the highest mythic cost in the game as far as mana. It's 30. There's a few that are 28 and 26, I think, but this is the only one that I know of that's 30. So there's that. Skady here is also an interesting mythic, but you mainly use Skady for the create the ice storm at the start of every turn. That's usually what I use it for. But it will freeze and mana burn the first 2 enemies, and it does knock them around a little bit, and then it can summon a Queen Mab. So it is pretty good, but I would definitely say Grey King is better. I like the Worldbreaker better, and then Skady is probably in third for me. Doomclaw I do not own yet. It's one of like 5 mythics that I just don't own yet. I've never gotten lucky to get it, and just haven't crafted it yet because it's not that good in my opinion. So it does damage to enemies boosted by enraged allies, and then it has a separate 25% chances to devour the next enemy above and below. So, but I don't see it used that often. I don't hear too many people talk about how good it is, so I just have never crafted it yet. Eventually, I will get it, either in keys or crafting, but for now, I would put that 4th on my list of mythics to get. So, alright, that's that. Let's go check out the new troop here. And then we'll take a quick look at the event. So this is the new troop here. It's an ultra rare. It's called Lasher. Its ability is that it will deal 15 damage to 6 random enemies. Now, that's actually pretty darn good. So, how much damage is that? Quite a bit. So we have 30, what is it, 90 damage? That's quite a bit. Wow. Okay, for 12 mana cost, it's an elemental, it's a monster. Interesting. Not too much crazy stuff with its traits other than a high damage reduction from skulls by 50%. And it does give you a 1 bonus to brown. But interesting that it does to 6 random enemies. Wow. Now, the thing that I do like about this type of damage here to random enemies, it's kind of like Tina 9000, and that is a Mythic Troop that does random damage to 3 enemies. Is if there's ever a case where you're down to 1 enemy left and you cast a troop like this, it should do that random damage to that 1 troop. So this troop right here is going to be, I wonder why they made it that powerful. 6 random enemies. Wow. Okay. I don't know. That seems like a lot of damage potential for such a low mana cost troop here. Anyway, looks pretty good. I would definitely buy at least 1. But if you can afford going up to legendary or mythic, that's probably good. The other thing too here is there is these arcane trait stones that you can only get from the Goblin Kingdom here. So if you need these trait stones, now's the time to buy them here in the shop. It's one of the reasons you want to save up your glory. And one of the main ways you can get glory is by doing lots of PvP. Hang on. I didn't max that out. There we go. But if you do lots of PvP, you're going to get lots of glory, and that will that'll give you the opportunity to, every week, you can have an arcane trait stone here that you're purchasing with that glory. So, it's a little tip there. Now let's take a look at the event really quick. Tower of Doom. So, it is brown, so you will have to craft a team here using all brown except for the weapon. And looking here at the shop, I would suggest buying up to the weapon here to get it. Because these Doom weapons don't come around that often. This one says deal heavy splash damage to an enemy and then 4+ per tempering level. Stun all brown enemies, cleanse all brown allies, explode 4 gems. If the enemy has a Doom, explode 3 more. So it sounds like it will guarantee 4 gems are always going to explode. And heavy splash damage means that we are going to be doing damage. The damage that we do to our targeted enemy, 75% of that damage is going to go to the troop above it and the troop below it. And that can be boosted by the tempering level. So we can go up to 10. So there's a potential here of 40 more splash damage. So for me, that would be 72 is damage that I can do to 1 troop, and then 75% of that's going to go to the troop above and below. So not a bad weapon. 18 mana cost, though, of solid brown. Yeah, so that is definitely something that you want to get, probably, if you can afford the gems for that. Now, as far as the troops that we're going to use here, I'm just going to do a quick suggestions here, just based on the colors and what we're working with. So what I would say is you want to probably use Mang. Now, early on, it doesn't matter because the troops are going to be so low level. But let's just say that, you're up there pretty high. And Mang is great. We're going to put him on there. Or you could use Earth's Fury. Or, yes, you could also use, if you have it, and it was like a week or 2 ago, that Trickster Shot was in the event shop, or the Soulforge, I mean. So Trickster Shot will work good too. So I would say Mang, Earth Fury, Trickster Shot, those weapons are going to be your go-tos for this event. And as for troops, the Wild Queen is really great if you do have it. That'll be really good for stealing attack from the enemy, creating green gems. And you could even use maybe Essence of Evil with that if you wanted to, or even Trickster Shot maybe. But you have to realize though that Trickster Shot is going to use purple and green, and Wild Queen will block that. But other than that, let me zero some of this out. We have to make sure we're going to brown. And I would say there is Keeper of Souls, which is in here, right here. Will transform all gems of a chosen color to skulls. I would say that if you're going to go with Mang, if you do have Keeper of Souls, that would be a good combination to go for. King Bloodhammer is also a possibility. We do have Glaceon, or Glaceon here, and you do have Gorgotha. So if you did want to, you could do the classic combination of, you could do Mountain Crusher. You could do something like this. Mountain Crusher, Glaceon, King Bloodhammer, and then you could put one other troop in there. Maybe you could put the Wild Queen. I don't know if that would work too well with the combination of Glaceon. You probably want a mana generator in there, honestly. Some kind of mana converter. You could put Gorgotha down here because that would give you the yellow. And that way you could ensure that you're getting lots of explosions. And then Glaceon would be there for major damage with the skulls. King Bloodhammer as well with that skull damage. It's kind of a classic team. Usually you put Apothecary in there, but Apothecary doesn't use brown color, so we can't use that. Another thing you could do maybe is you could do double Gargoyle and where's Luther? Here he is. So you could do Luther at the bottom, or you could do, yeah, so you could do something like this or this. It doesn't really matter probably. But this is going to give attack to all allies, and Gargoyle is going to be doing major splash damage boosted by all allies' attack. So the Luther is going to increase all your attack damage, and the Gargoyles are going to go ahead and do major damage based on that. And of course, you got your Mountain Crusher up here, and if you do have, you just put Titan or any of these classes like Monk or Ruin Priest. Plague Lord back here too has and Sentinel. They all have the rock solid talent, all those guys that I mentioned. And if you equip that, and so this team might work too, pretty good for the Tower of Doom. So that's another suggestion. So yeah, you could use the Glaceon, King Bloodhammer, Mountain Crusher, or you could go with Mang, Keeper of Souls, something like that. Or you could try to use Trickster Shot, like I said, and that would, if you're going to use Trickster Shot, you probably should use some kind of troop at the top that's going to create a barrier. So if we go in here then, and we go to, just type in barrier. So any of these troops, probably something like the Wild Knight, will explode a gem, gain 26 life and attack, boosted by green gems, gain barrier, as well as inflict Hunter's Mark when you take skull damage, a little bit of skull damage reduction. So a troop like this, or even Scarab Knight here, gain barrier and 29 armor, and it has 50% chance of, not chance, but 50% damage reduction from skulls. And so troops like that, like in the top part of your team, like let's say, let's say we chose this, put this here, and then we could go, let's put our Trickster's Shot in here. And then as far as generating the mana for that, we're going to want to look up our mana generators for that color. So there's a few things you could use here. You don't want to choose a converter that has brown and green and purple or those colors, because that will you have a lot of mana getting blocked. But there should be a few mana generating troops in here. Ragnagord is a mana generator, explodes gems on the board, and has the potential to start with 50% mana. Does use red color there, so you could generate some mana with that. And then you also have a troop like this right here, Templar, which is going to give all allies armor, but it will transform all red gems to green to boost the effect. So that will give you some mana getting converted into green, so that'll fill up hopefully your Wild Knight and your Trickster Shot. This troop here is also another troop. The Wood Rhinax is a troop that converts all red to green. So that could go here as well, and then you could focus in on the yellow and red to get the mana generated. So there's a couple of team ideas anyway, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of different troops that you can play around with and different weapons. So yeah. And then real quick, one last thing before I end the video is I would like to show here again, Kazael is the event kingdom this week. So if you want to get the legendary troops in that kingdom, and there's a couple of good ones, then now would be the time to open it. Open those event keys. So if we go in here to our kingdoms and we look for Kazael, show all, and let's do by rarity. So the mythic troop for this kingdom is Stonehammer. Now it's one of the best defensive troops, and it does generate some mana. It'll stun, burn all enemies. It creates a mix of red and brown gems. It gains life. It has damage reduction from skulls by 80%. It's one of the highest in the game. Now, there's two legendaries here for this kingdom, Gorgatha and Highforge, King Highforge here. King Highforge is a pretty good troop because it will allow all dwarves to start with battle with 50% mana. It's immune to stun, poison, disease, death mark, and devour. It'll stun the last two enemies. It deals damage boosted by dwarves, and then it can summon a random dwarf. Gorgatha, unfortunately, is not a dwarf because it would start with 50% mana. It would be so amazing to put those two together if Gorgatha was a dwarf. But it's not. But it does belong to this kingdom, and it has a damage reduction for the skulls by 75%, and it will explode pretty much the entire board, and then it will cleanse itself. So that's also a really good troop. And a couple other good troops in here is Gimlet, starts with full mana, transforms green to brown. Lady Ironbeard does triple damage if her armor is stronger than the enemy. Lord Ironbeard does triple damage to red enemies. And you have Apothecary. If you don't have it yet, that is a great troop as well. Rock Troll is really good. Deep Boar obviously is really good. Dwarven Gate, Rockworm. You have a chance to getting all those troops here in the Kazael Kingdom, and that is the event kingdom for this week. So good luck opening those event keys, and that's pretty much it for this video, Soulforge video, and hope you guys appreciated that. I don't know. I don't know if I explained everything good enough. It's pretty early here in the morning for me, so I'm still a little bit tired. Anyway, thanks for watching as always, guys, and I appreciate all the likes on the videos that you guys give me. Gives me more of a motivation to make more videos on Gems of War. So thanks a lot, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.